Hi, Keel. Well, welcome. I'm back. Hi, Tracy. Feels like I've been away forever. Yeah. So before I start, just a couple of announcements. I'm going to be in London next weekend, so I won't be doing this broadcast next Sunday. So yeah, there's details about that on my website. And what else? If you want a private Skype with me, you can get in touch with me there. Private Skypes are very different from this, more intense. Also, if you'd like to donate towards this talk, I can do that there. I'd be very grateful for that. And thank you for those who have donated. And yeah, that's it. Hi, Paul. Seems so long. I've talked about this. So what can you say? What can one say about this? Because there isn't anything really. There's just sitting in a chair. Oh, thanks, Keel. It's just sitting in a chair. Doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how hard you try to look or how much you read or look at non-duality or anything. It's never going to take you closer to this, because you are this appearing as you. You can't get any closer to this. This is everything. Hi, Anne. Hi, Richard. Oh, great. Oh, I'm glad you're coming, Anne. That's brilliant. You can't get any closer to this. Hi, Joe. This is what you're looking for. This is you looking. It's what you're looking for, and it's you looking. And yet also within this, there is a paradox. And the paradox is that there is a seeming separation. There is no separation, but there's the appearance of separation, and that can be pointed to. And it's paradoxal because it's life pointing to life, saying that it's not separate, that it's actually one. And I got a question about that today, saying, well, if there is no person, how can the person have thoughts? And of course, it's life appearing as the person having thoughts. But also, it can also be pointed to that that person is not an actual person, that it's an appearance in the whole. It's the whole appearing as a person. So no matter what that apparent person or illusion does, or thinks it's doing, or apparently doing, it can never get closer to anything. Because it is everything. It's everything appearing as trying to get closer to everything. So that appearance of me is completely buggered, really. It's completely buggered as far as getting anything. Because nothing can be got. Because it's already here. And it's amazing. It's amazing. But it's not amazing for anybody. It's just amazing when it's amazing. And in this subject, there can be subtleties, the subtleties of non-duality, which usually appear in language. It doesn't matter what language you use, what you think are the right words, what you think are the wrong words. None of it is relevant. None of it is important. Nothing is important. in that sense. Doesn't matter what it appears as. Doesn't even matter appearing as disagreeing with something or agreeing with something. We're talking about freedom here. Freedom. Freedom is the thing that the me longs for. But it's not the me that gets anything in the end. It's freedom from seeking for wholeness. Hi, SS. Hi, Sergey. SS, is it normal that after non-duality you become so introverted you just want to stay alone? That depends on the character. There are some people who are still married. Yeah. This character prefers to be alone most of the time. I would say 98% time. Though I do like company occasionally. But it just depends on the character, really. I mean, there's no rules. You know, you might still want to be absolutely sociable and go out, you know. Hi, Claudia. Go out having beers with your mates. I don't know. It depends. It depends. Who can tell? Who can tell? Hi, Josie. I says sometimes it's like depression. I don't know about that. Here it was the end of all that. The end of it. Though I heard that some people can get depressed. But I can't. I don't know. I mean, depression. Possibly. This character certainly was not depressed. Perplexed, perhaps, but not depressed. Amazed, perplexed. It was like a great big what? What the hell? And it seems like a contradiction when we talk about the me and the person, because the me and the person is an appearance, but it can be pointed to. It can be pointed to, like anything's pointed to. But the subject, the illusion can be pointed to, and there can be a recognition there that, yes, that is an illusion. Hi. Hi, Corey. But nothing can point to the simplicity of just this. Hey, Will. My friend Will here knows how much of a hermit I am. Talking of hermits. Jumping to conclusions is paranoia. I don't know. I don't think so. SS. Yeah, it's like everything you thought was true was actually not. Yes, totally. Totally. Well, it's just the end of everything, actually. It's the end of everything that seemed to be something. That's the best way I can describe it. The end of the illusion of there being something. Hi, Donnie. Because there's nothing left. There's nothing left. There's nothing anyway. There's just nothing. It's just sitting in a chair talking. There's no even reason for me talking. What happens is the mouth opens and it's the illusion of the me is pointed out and words happen, and it's not for any reason. There's no reason for anything because everything is already free. And yet this happens. And there's a kind of, there's an in loveness with it. There's an in loveness that seems to happen here. It says, can you talk about religion and how it is all made up? Religion. I can make a very brief stab at it. I don't know anything. But hi, other son. I guess religion is, I guess there were people at some point talking about freedom, you know, and I guess the words were about freedom originally, but humans being humans, you know, someone gets a sniff of power. I guess religion is a power game, isn't it? To me, that's how religion seems. It's a power game, and also for the normal people who are in religion, they are looking for something. They are looking for an answer. They're looking for God. But it's all God. It's all God. And yet it can also be said, and here's the contradiction, is that God can't be found. God can't be found because there is only God, or life. I prefer to call it life because God conjures up, you know, all those religious ideas of some omnipresent being. Yeah. I guess there's different sides to religion. You know, there's the power game, the money game, and then there's the hope of the people, the hope of an afterlife sometimes. Here, it's also freedom of control, but it can get horrible because there's sometimes no control. Then I feel guilty because I didn't do like I think I should. Sometimes very frustrating or depressing. Yeah, that's the story of the me. It sees itself in relation to what happens, how it feels about itself, and it can feel guilt and frustration and depression because it always judges itself according to appearances. You know, it's something happens and then it sorry, it's laughing at these guys. Something happens and it's out of anyone's control. Whatever happens is out of the me's control. The me has no control over appearances. The me is just this thing rattling around inside the body, inside the human. Has no control, you know, about what comes out of the mouth and what that person does or what this person does and any of that. But the me just like lives in the story about how this is about me and what I've done. So it tortures itself, comparing itself and how I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I should have behaved, I should have did this and that. Paul, understanding this intellectually but not knowing this can be really frustrating for the me. Yes. Because understanding it intellectually is just having a concept, really. The words are actually empty. This is just empty. It can't be understood. So understanding it intellectually is just a story running, isn't it? It's just a story. I understand the definition that there's only this, but that is this appearing as a story about this. It's two. Joe. Yeah, then it can be very frustrating because it's like, well, I can understand it intellectually, so therefore, why haven't I got it? Well, that's because it will never be got. That's the frustrating thing. It won't be got. It'll be the end of getting. It'll be the end of the appearance of a me. Completely gone. There's nothing then to understand. Then there's no need to even intellectually, because intellectual understanding isn't anything, it's not anything. There isn't anything. Hey, Steve. I think even when times are dominated by religion, there can be an outbreak of freedom. A lot of freedom being expressed right now. Good to see you, Lisa. Oh, thanks. Yeah. It's all freedom. It's all freedom. Even complete slavery, death and destruction is complete freedom. And also it's complete freedom that the humans react against that. It's all just one big mass of life. Just one mass of aliveness appearing as the sun and the moon and death and destruction and life and plants and babies and one big crazy happening. It says it brings up so much fear, also the idea of religion, to be free of sin. Oh, that's Christian religion, isn't it? Christian religion. Be free of sin. There is no sin. There's just life happening. There's just life happening, and none of it is good or bad. In the story it is of humans, you know, if you see someone beating a dog, the human's gonna run over and probably deck the person, you know, beating the dog. But only in that sense. But there's no sin, you know, ultimately. It's just, I think this idea of sin is nasty. Paul, too simple. Yeah, too simple. Corey, I sometimes feel like that is much to do with the appearance of human energy as storytellers. Yeah, it's just, I mean, really, it's just what's happening or apparently happening. Or it just, I mean, really apparently happening, because what is happening is sitting on a chair. That's what's happening. Everything else is just stories in the head of reality and morality, sin. These are all just happening. These are all just thoughts in the head. They're just all, it's all just life. Awesome. What do you think about virtual reality? Virtual reality. Virtual reality. You mean like Oculus thing? I don't care about virtual reality. I don't have any thoughts one way or the other. I guess if that's what people want to do, that's what they want to do. I've never had a go on it myself, but I get motion sickness, so it wouldn't be good for me. I put on a virtual reality headset once, and my brain literally was tricked into thinking I was in another reality. Yeah. It's like when you dream, isn't it? When you dream, you really think you're there. You know, that's what's really happening for you. unless you have a lucid moment where you go, oh yeah, I'm dreaming. But that's what's really happening. Virtual reality, I get your brain could get tricked into. I mean, you see these people who put on the VR and they're sitting on a kind of moving chair, and they have the fake roller coaster, and it feels the brain interprets it as real. Yeah, and the brain interprets this as real. The brain interprets that the me is real. The me is a kind of virtual reality. I feel like VR can help in some sense to get our society to realize that everything is just perception and nothing is actually real. Good luck with that. None of it's real anyway. None of it's real anyway, because when this body dies, the whole thing will just go over in a puff of smoke. None of it's really real. We think that, you know, the body dies and time goes on in some sort of timeline. I mean, it might, okay, it might, but from here, it's not possible. From here, that's not possible. I mean, even now, we can't say whether this table and this air and this space and this body is virtual reality or not. It just, none of it actually really matters. None of it matters. It's all the same energy, whether it's virtual reality with a pair of goggles on. Blob. What do you mean, blob? Whether you've got goggles on, whether the body's dreaming, whether you're watching a movie, that can be like, you can be really in the movie, can't you? And you're like, I'm watching The Walking Dead again. I'm just catching up with the season. And I was watching it this afternoon, and I was totally like this. I was totally like, you know, and it's just a TV program, but the brain gets totally involved in it. So there's no, you can't separate anything out into like virtual reality or this so-called reality or TV reality, dream reality. None of it's reality. None of it. It's all the same thing. I feel like our eyeballs are virtual goggles for the brain, which is just another, just as virtual as the goggles. Yeah. Yeah. Heel, did you have a period of strong switching between control and no control? It was instantaneous. It was absolutely instantaneous. There was no kind of switching, but it took a little while for the brain, the body to kind of be able to function normally. It was like, you know, I don't really like wearing rings. I used to. It's like putting on a ring, and it takes a little while to get used to the ring, like maybe like a week before you actually don't notice that the ring is on anymore. It's not uncomfortable. Well, it felt a bit like that, really. That the body and the mind were a little bit uncomfortable at the sun, but I don't know, love. No, none of it matters anyway. Steve, energy of me is not a me, right? Can you think of a metaphor for the unreality of the contracted energy of me? Putting you on the spot, I know. A metaphor? I'm afraid I can't conjure metaphors out of thin air. Energy of me is not a me. No, it's just life. It's aliveness, taking the piss. Yeah, no. But also, you know, also there's the contradiction and the paradox is that it can also be pointed out that it's not me and it can fall away. Mind blowing. I like the waves in the ocean analogy. I used to, but I don't get it now. Oh, it's like I can't get anything. Can you think of a metaphor for the unreality of the contracted energy of me? No, not off the bat. No, it's not real. It's not real because it's not always there as well. You may have noticed that, and it can collapse. It can fall apart. It can disappear. It can dissolve. Whatever your words you want to call it, and it's gone. And the body dies, and the me is part of the body, so that dies as well. The ocean pretending to be a wave. Yeah. I still quite like the life taking the piss. A cosmic joke. I know. I'm going to pretend to be not free. I'm freedom, and I'm going to pretend to be not free. For a change, just to change it up a bit. There you go, Steve. That's the closest you're going to get for an on-demand thing. You're welcome. The thing is that you won't ever become free. You won't ever become free because you're already freedom appearing as a me. This can't get any freer than what it is. It can just appear differently. It can appear as being free from the me. But no one's free from the me. It's just a change of appearances. It's still the same energy. Nothing's actually changed. And as you say, the whole of the me is a delusion. All of it, the whole of me. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's an illusion, and it deludes itself into. It's an illusion that is deluded by its own sense of reality. Yeah, it deludes itself that I am real and I am here, and I am certain of it, and I can't get free. And I want to get free. I want to get free from me. This aliveness word was brought up in Tony Parsons' meeting yesterday, but even aliveness isn't real aliveness, right? These are just words. These are words trying to describe everything, which is nothing. which is empty of something. It's absolutely full of everything and absolutely empty. So, you know, it has this is so alive, so ultimately alive, not in the sense of a beating heart and a breathing and all that, in its absolute energetic presence, without there being a presence. It's just that it's here. It's just here. We're sitting in it. It's the body. It's the desk. It's everything. It's everything. And it's absolutely brimming with itself. And we use words like aliveness, you know, or life, or this, or, you know, the words are irrelevant, really. The words you can't, they're just vague attempts, you know, through mouth movements that make sounds to try and describe the absolute, the absolute. This is absolute. There's no absolute somewhere else. There's no absolute within it. That's hidden. It's hidden in plain view. It's hidden in absolute plain view. It itself is alive, but it can't be seen because there's nobody to see it, because there is no separation between a me and aliveness. It's all the same thing. Joe, Eckhart Tolle said, play around with it. Who would do that? It'll still be the same thing. It's still the same thing. There's nothing that can be done. It's already done. There's nothing that can be done. You won't get free. Me won't get free. It's hopeless. Because it is freedom already. And if it's recognized that that is the case, and that the sense of self just goes puff of smoke, then that's what happens. That's what happens. In the end, none of it really matters. It matters to the me, I know that. When no me, no person, there's no center, no focus. So then everything loses its meaning, its purpose. Yes, for someone. The character still continues, you know, like there will be a cooking going on with the purpose of making a meal. But personal purpose is completely lost, yes. Yes. Because there's no one to have a purpose. Purpose is a story. Because my personal purpose, my personal meaning, I must have a purpose. There must be a purpose for me to be here. That's the me, isn't it? And my purpose is to be free and enlightened. That's a lot of people's story about purpose. Panic is freedom. Yes, Keel. Everything is freedom. Everything. Also, it feeling like it's not freedom is freedom. But the me appears as not being free. But the me is an illusion. Freedom can also point that out too. No matter what the non-dualists say. Steve, I am abandoned. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Oh, the sun. I think it never had purpose in the first place. Purpose is a story. Because, let's have a look at purpose. I must have some meaning. I must have some worth. But the worth and the meaning can't be found because they're not for anybody, because there isn't anybody. It's completely just this figment story of a person happening, which feels contracted and feels real and it's deluded. But it can't actually find the meaning or the purpose. I must have a purpose. But it's the figment idea of what purpose is. Nice one, Paul. I love that song, by the way. No meaning, no purpose feels very free. Yes, it is. It is, because then, you know, the character is free from this striving, yearning, tedious story that will never, ever come to fruition. It feels pretty good. It feels pretty good to not have that. It's such a burden. Other sun, I feel like knowing non-duality is somehow breaking the rules of the game. Yeah, because there aren't any rules. Rule free. This is freedom from rules. What? I mean, you know, how can you, there's no rules to be sitting on a chair in front of a desk or whatever else is happening. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, there's no rule to get to that because it's already complete. It's already done. It's already free. It's already everything. Trying to tell my friends about non-duality is like being a dream and telling my characters in the dream that they are just dream characters. Yeah, well, good luck with telling people about non-duality. Yeah. Yeah. I want this to be purposeful, but I also don't want to. Well, the me wants purpose because it wants to feel okay. It wants to feel fulfilled, complete, at rest. At last, I've found the purpose. I've found the meaning. Therefore, I can rest. It's looking for a permanent state of rest. Among other things, like a permanent state of, now I'm there, I've made it, I'm a good person, I'm an enlightened person, that's the best person of all, I'm loved by everybody, I'm admired, I'm free, I'm free of suffering. That's what the me is looking for. It's looking for a state. This is not about a state. There's no permanent state. There's nothing permanent. I remember years ago, a long time ago, like 25 years ago, I went to stay in a Tibetan monastery up in the Himalayas. And I was a desperate seeker at the time. And I met this Lama Lundup, his name was. And I went and had a cup of tea with him. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What am I going to do? And he was like, he just said, everything is impermanent. Everything is impermanent. And I was just like, yeah, so what? So what? What am I going to get from that? That doesn't give me anything. What am I going to get from that? I don't feel any happier. I don't feel any freer. God hasn't appeared. But I don't know what his feeling or his meaning was to that. But now, you know, when I think about that, it's like, yeah, nothing is permanent. This appearance is constantly moving, not in time. It's just constantly moving. Nothing is permanent. Nothing. So this idea that I will be in this state of equilibrium or freedom or something when I've got that extra special something that they have. That's what it thinks. I know what it thinks. I used to think it. But there's no permanence. Oh, listen, I'm so intrigued by my own confusion. Yeah. Are there any good arguments against non-duality? Well, there is no non-duality. As soon as you put non-duality in a box, there'll be plenty of arguments against it. There is no non-duality. There's only sitting in a room speaking. And someone could argue about that if they wanted to. I don't know what they'd say. They could say, like, yeah, you're sitting in a room speaking, but there is another reality, another dimension or something. And I'd be like, well, in my imagination, yeah. So I don't know, because as soon as you put non-duality in a box with a set of rules, yeah, there'll be plenty of arguments against it. But really, we're talking about something that isn't anything. It's just this. It's just this. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Steve, I like the analogy of this being a play where anything and everything can happen, appear to appear, but all of it without any inherent reality. Yeah. Yeah. This is just bloody mind-blowing. It really is. It really is. It's neither life nor death. It's neither real nor unreal. It's got no place. It's got no location. It's just this. Locationless, placeless, timeless. Because as much as I love this, I want to hear arguments against this. I'd like to hear those arguments too. Just because it seems like people are willing to believe anything. Yeah, well, I'd never ask anyone to believe anything I say, because I actually don't know what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything. I don't know if that's true, actually. I find a lot of people in this subject, especially a lot of the people I know, are very skeptical and discerning. Yeah. Especially the folks I talked to on Wednesday night. Yeah, they're no pushovers, that's for sure. Joe, everything's included. Yeah. Listen, okay, I understand when you say you can't put non-duality in a box. No, you can't put what is happening in a box. I guess the argument about what is apparently happening is to say it's not happening. I find non-duality arguments both amusing and slightly annoying sometimes, because they're just like, oh god, I mean, really, none of it matters anyway. And the me is like a hungry ghost, very desperate, never satisfied. It's an endless loop. That's why it's impossible to get out of. I feel if it's fully seen, it will disappear. Yeah, but it won't be seen by you. It won't be seen by you. It'll just be obvious, like water is wet. Water's wet. There's no me. There's no me anywhere. Anywhere. There's the appearance of me, but it's not a me. It's an appearance, part of the whole. Joe can only be pointed to. Yeah, I guess. Other son, what does your family think about this message? How has it affected your relationships? Or does that not matter either? No, not at all. I don't talk to my family about this. We never have these conversations. You know, they'll ask me what I'm doing. I'll say, oh, I'm giving a talk in London. And I'll go, oh, that's nice, dear. But they'll never talk about it with them. They know what I do, but they never really ask. They're just, they're just normal people. I think that it affected my relationship with my daughter because I was just more chilled out. Just more chilled out, you know. The appearance of family is beautiful, but my parents tend to reinforce me. Yeah, well, the whole world does, doesn't it? The whole world does. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know. They're just parents. That's what parents do. Parents can't help but be parents. They just do their best to be parents. That's what they do. That's what, you know. And me is an appearance just like anything else, like a chair or a door, etc. Yes. Yes, it's the whole of life. Just booming, booming. As a me, as not a me, as a glass, as the air, as a plant. It's singing. Life is singing. Everything, nothing, empty, everything. Life, aliveness, energy, everything. It's just singing, singing, singing. It's hiding in absolute plain view. It's absolutely this. Do you still experiment with psychs? You mean drugs? Psychs? No. No. No, not at all. I haven't done drugs for decades. CDD! Oh, you're late. Nice to see you. I mean, the last time I did magic mushrooms, I think I was 21 years old. That was a long time ago. Keel, after liberation, it's obvious, but probably not what the me thinks is obvious or seeing. More close me can ever imagine, not even close. Yeah, it's completely beyond the appearance of a me's conception. It's so obvious. You'll wonder how you didn't see it. It's just so obvious. Like, of course. Of course. It's always been this. It's always this. And it's not this as a like it's not conceptual. It's not conceptual at all. Yeah, the me can only think in concepts, ideas, pictures. This is beyond. It's just what's happening. It's just what's happening. It can't be conceptualized at all. And I find when I'm around people, I'm more contracted and in personhood. I love the space of being alone, but sometimes concerned. I'll isolate. It depends on whether you feel okay about being on your own or not. I think the concern about being isolated can sometimes just be a concept. You know, I often get asked, "Are you okay being on your own all the time?" I'm like, "Yep." Yeah. If I'm not, I'll just give a friend a prod to have a chat with. It depends on. I mean, if you love being on your own and you suddenly feel company, and the body would just be moved to go and find company. I think they're just kind of me stories about I should be doing this or this or this. It's weird to want to be alone. But these are all just stories that the me makes up about what it should or shouldn't be doing. You'll just find that whatever's happening is what's happening. It's not to do with a sense of self or not. It might be just a phase that you want to be isolated for a while. Thanks, CD. I did mushrooms way back then. I don't remember much. Colours mostly. Yeah, I had a freaky one, the last one I did. It was so freaky I thought I'd met God. It made me into a seeker. Well, I guess something's going to make you into the seeker. Okay, that's to somebody else. I'm going to read that out. Corey, I prefer being alone these days, but I enjoy social stuff also. I just prefer aloneness. Yeah, me too. Me too. After an hour of socialness, I'm like, feel I want to be alone now. Yeah, it's not wrong. If you want to be alone, then you want to be alone. You know, there's nothing wrong in it. As long as you're feeling that it's, you know, that you're not lonely, if you don't feel lonely, then there's no problem. Yes, I think it's just conditioning that being alone is wrong, not normal. But who bloody cares anyway? Exactly. It's a conditioning. We've all got to be out there being sociable and liked and, you know, being part of it, being part of everything. And why? Why? Donny, you seem to be so full of joy. I feel like there must be something wrong with me because I rarely feel that joy of being alive that I feel should be felt naturally. There's nothing wrong with you, Donny. There's nothing wrong with you at all. Maybe the feeling like there's something wrong with you is making you feel that lack of joy. I think the judgment of the me is such a judgy appearance that it can suck all the joy out, you know, it can suck all the joy out. It sucks the joy out of life. With all its judgments and feelings and stories. I think, Donny, that when I get time tomorrow, I'm gonna write to you, okay? CDD, if extremely difficult things are happening, how would my me handle it better than being scared to death? You'll just be responding. You'll just be responding. Extremely difficult things happening, the body responds before there's any kind of me story happening. It just gets handled. You know, there might even be fear, but it's just happening so instantaneously. You know, in like panic situations, it's like, I think sometimes in those moments that time seems to stop because it's so instant that there's no me there. The me just evaporates in those moments, isn't it? When it's in like full attention mode, like say there's a fire or a flood or someone to take care of quickly. It's instantaneous. The me would come in afterwards as a like great big story. Corey. Curly on the Three Stooges called the judge Judgy Woodgy. Judgy Woodgy Mimi. Steve, we like your company on Discord, Donny. We really do, Donny. We really do. We love having you there. We love having you there very much. I love your contributions, Donny. Other sons, Discord, voice chat. Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's a really good platform, actually. It's like being in the room. Okay, are there any other last things before I go? And I won't be here next Sunday. I feel like I'm just back and then I'm disappearing again. But are there any last things before I go? Thank you for that contribution, Joe. Bananas and custard. You don't sound heavy. You don't sound heavy, Donnie. Not at all. I just had to just go still with it for a minute. That's all. Oh, thank you, Lee. Thank you, Corey. And for me, it's a nasty piece of work. It's always got nothing good to contribute. And just have to know it's gonna put you down. And not it's gonna put you down and not take it personally. Yeah. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Josie. Thanks, Claudia. Thanks, Keel. Thanks, anyone else I haven't said thank you to. And see you in 2 weeks, unless I suddenly feel inspired to do. Oh yeah, see you in London, Paul. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to seeing some of you there. Okay, lots of love. Bye.